The Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer, weekday afternoons at 5 Eastern on CNN.
Are the drug gangs, the cartels, are they winning this war right now? When I hear a number like 23,000 people killed since you launched your initiative.
They are not winning, and let me clarify that the other part of my answer. Most of that, 90% of those casualties are casualties of criminals themselves that are fighting each other. It's very clear for us, according with our records, that it's possible to understand, for instance, in one particular homicide, what could be the probable reasons for that, and 90% are criminals linked in one way or another to the gangs. And now the Mexican gangs are passing through a very unstable process, splitting themselves and fighting each other, and that explains most of those casualties. There are not...
So these are not innocent civilians among the 23,000?
Some of them.
You're saying that many of them are gang members themselves?
90%.
90%?
90%, yes. And 90% out of all the homicides that we are able to understand or explain the causes of that. 2% of that, less than 2%, are innocent civilians, yes. More or less killed by the criminals. And that is the worst part of that.
I want you to turn around and look at that picture of Diego Fernandez. You know him.
Very well. He's my friend.
He's your friend. He was once a presidential candidate. What has happened to him?
We don't know, not yet. But there is no evidence until now that this kidnap is related with organized crime.
He's been kidnapped. You can confirm that?
It could be. It's one hypothesis.
Because there's some suggestion he was kidnapped to send you a message.
No, the criminals used to send me very clear message in another way. I think there is a very sensitive case. It's very sad for me, of course, because Diego is a very good friend of mine, a very good friend of the members of my party. But there is not evidence that this situation is related with organized crime. There is no evidence that it's clearly a kidnap case because, it's according with the investigation in courts.
Have there been any communications demanding anything, ransom for him? Nothing like that?
Nothing. It's a mystery up now. And of course, for me, it's very important to preserve the confidence on the privacy of this investigation because we will find Diego, and of course, we are working with all the resources we have in order to find out.
How worried are you about your personal safety?
Well, you know, there are risks, of course, according with the job I have, but let me be honest on this. Beyond the risks, beyond the threatness, to be president is the highest honor that anyone Mexican could have. And I'm really happy with that. I learned from I was a child that it's an honor to serve your country. I'm serving my country and in the highest rank that I could have. So I don't remember these risks that, of course, there are according with the job I'm doing.
You know, and we have to wrap it up because we're out of time. Americans love visiting Mexico, whether Cancun or other places. I want you to look in the camera and tell Americans why travel, tourism, visiting Mexico is safe and they need not worry. Because a lot of Americans right now, as you know, are worried.
I know, but first, Mexico is a lovely country.
That's true.
And second, Mexico is a country who is passing, is having a trouble, but we are fixing that trouble, we are fixing the problem, and we will fix it. Third, if you analyze, for instance, the figures, you need to put in a context this problem of crime in Mexico. The rate of homicides per 100,000 people in Mexico is 12 homicides per 100,000 people. If you analyze any other country, for instance, if you prefer to fly to Jamaica or Dominican Republic, you need to understand that the rate of homicides there is 60 homicides per 100,000 people. Or Colombia is 39. Or Brazil is 23, the double than Mexico.
So you're saying it's safer to visit if you're a tourist in Mexico than some of these other countries?
According with this data, yes. And even, let me tell you that if you feel safer here in Washington, D.C., Washington, D.C. has 31 homicides per 100,000 people, which means the triple, or almost the triple homicides than Mexico, according with the proportion of the population. And I don't want to deny that we have a problem, yes, but we are facing that problem, and we are using all the resources of the state. That problem is not focused on the places that Americans used to visit, like Cancun or Vallarta or Baja or Los Cabos. Those places, some of them even are safer as several cities in Europe or other places. So visit Mexico, you will help us, and we were working to make Mexico a safer country in favor not only the tourists, but also our own families.
Mr. President, thanks so much. Welcome to Washington. You got a huge, huge challenge ahead of you. We wish you only the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Wolf.